r/ask Reddit. Former flat earthers. What made you come round? Quote I got from somewhere. For 5 years I believed the earth was flat. Then I turned 6 inches. I was debating a flat earther in Mexico, and I asked him about how GPS worked if there were no satellites. He said that they had devices in the ground to route you. I told him the Mexican government is barely able to put decent water pipes in the ground. Would he really think they had the tech to put routing devices in the ground? He chuckled with a 1,000-mile gaze. I mean, with all the money go to routing devices in the ground, no wonder there is no money left. Had to travel to Japan. Gave up on my beliefs in order to make a shorter trip. Please elaborate. It's a quicker journey depending which direction you travel from. A serious answer here. The thing that made me stop was just the question, why would NASA lie to you? I will try replying to all of y'all, but will go to a study hall, so I'll reply later. Kyrie Irving hasn't been doing press conferences. Man's just disappeared from the court like he fell off the disc. The Mobius strip earthers had more compelling arguments. No, there would be no need for arguments since we're all on the same side. If someone starts as a round earther and then converts to being a flat earther and then goes back to being a round earther, would you say they've come full circle? Once they've realized their mistake, I'd say they're really on the ball. Though I imagine flat earthers would say they're the level-headed ones. Look, it's really easy. If the earth is flat, there would be an edge, S, and there would be a ducking Disney park at the edge, and we could bungee jump off the side and paraglide into the void etc etc. Someone would be making an absolute shit ton of money off of it if it existed. Guess what? Nobody is doing that. ADN in this world where absolutely everything is exploited for profit. If no one is making money off of it, it does not exist. No edge. Not flat. Get a clue. I was tired of living life on the edge. I've been to the edge. And I've been to the edge. Yes, I've been to the edge. I've been to the edge. And God knows if I've looked down. Looked down. I've been to the edge. The inclined seat conformed perfectly to his body, strategically placed in the cockpit so he could reach no buttons with outstretched arms. The straps anchored him firmly in place. They were uncomfortable but necessary. The engine burst to life with a roar that burned out all the other audio. The vibrations tore through his body and he felt his body sink back into the seat as the G-force began to take hold. The captain was watching the readouts on the LED displays and monitoring their trajectory as the acceleration began to peel his thoughts away. There was no more room in his brain. It had been filled by pure air. The boosters grew with greater ferocity as they lifted higher into the sky, the sun beaming down on the left side of the shuttle, but faster they went, through max Q and higher into the stratosphere until the engines grew quieter, the air more silent, and the vibrations became less violent. They were approaching space, the final frontier, an hour later, and with the path of the shuttle a success, he noticed as his raw emotions withdrew that his body felt funny. Head hair drifted aimlessly across his eyes as the captain's pen hovered in midair and he knew the impossible was true. His childhood dream. He was in space, weightless. The captain turned around to him and motioned him to unhook his seat belts. He did as he was commanded. They both left their chairs and glided over to the tiny glass windows to overlook the magnificence of Earth. "What do you think now?" said the captain. He recoiled in horror. It couldn't be. NASA had replaced the windows with high-definition screens in order to perpetrate their lies that the world was spherical. Those bastards. On Behind the Curve on Netflix, 2 of the flat earthers accuse the moon of being a giant TV screen controlled by NASA. You aren't too far off. Okay, I get the question is funny and all, but I actually did believe, for a time, that the earth was flat. I was raised in a very religious family, and basically came to the conclusion that the Bible declared the earth was flat, because since I believed the earth was created in 7 days, the idea that God set the stars in the sky in one day made much more sense if the stars were simply points of light in a sort of snow globe formation extrapolated onto a bigger scale. Otherwise, he took one day out of the 7 to make a septillion or so balls of flaming gas, all with their own planets, and set each one into galaxies before breaking for lunch. It just didn't make sense to me that he would spend 5 days on one planet and make the creation of the trillions of other stuff in the universe a little footnote. I was confronted about this belief a couple times, only one of which wasn't laughed off. That single person who engaged started a serious discussion, presenting much more evidence for the globe Earth, and eventually told me to watch Carl Sagan. The Cosmos series was on YouTube, and once I watched it, I had to know more. Finally, a video from the channel Minute Physics convinced me, in no uncertain terms, that the Earth was round. All it took was one quote, which I still remember leaving chills down my spine. You should have put a serious tag on this question. Yep, you really need to use the serious tag. People on here are idiots lol. This obviously isn't a serious post. Come round, this post is an invitation for bad puns. I tried to convince others that the Earth is a circle, but they wouldn't listen. It's pointless. No one took me seriously. There are flat earthers all over the globe. I spent about a year infiltrating the flat earth community on Instagram. I garnered a decent following with an account dedicated to flat earth travel photos, an intentionally absurd premise. In that time I learned quite a bit about the community, including how to discern the trolls from the real deal. The majority of legit flat earthers are extremely distrustful of anything the government says or does. These same people are 9/11 truthers, Holocaust deniers, and anti-vaxxers, and they connect these conspiracies together. Many of them have also attached flat earth theory to religion, magic, or mysticism. Before my infiltration I'd always considered conspiracies fun, like they were the fanfiction of real life. Now they mostly make me sad. For all the phony accounts like mine, there are still plenty of people out there willing to drop a couple of $100 on a flat earth convention. It took about 5 years. It was a lot of willful ignorance on my part. I just refused to question the logic of it. In fact, I spent most of my time coming up with crazy fantasies about a lot of things I didn't understand. But you have to understand that there is just so much we don't know about that sometimes our priority on what is real and what can be believed can get confused. I was learning so much so fast that I really didn't question something so inane as the world being flat. Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be? The day that changed it forever though was when I asked my father what happens when you get to the edge of the world. He of course said the world is round like a ball. Being about 5 years old I thought that made a lot of sense. I'm upvoting just for the pun ID, see what people think about the shape of the earth, as long as we all agree that we kinda need to do something about it so that we don't perish. Man, I figured there would only be a couple legit ones, but I was really interested. Instead it's the same tired ass jokes you've been recycling for the past few years. Don't you guys get tired of upvoting dog shit like there's flat earthers all over the globe? I was lonely, and everyone else was having a ball. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.